I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, have me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what, told you I'ma do me, why you hating on me, it's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up.
Good evening. What up, Marie?
How you doing, Julius?
It's Marie and Julius. We're on. We always want to give shots out to our co-host, Julius Hall, and also AB for what we are doing right now. But tonight, we got a tremendous segment for you. But who are we and what do we do? Who are we?
We are OAA, and what we do, we encourage, empower, and educate. We are here to make a difference, to share different resources with you.
And we are also Ink to Ink, Incarceration to Incorporation. Why are we here? Well, first of all, changing the narrative. What we love to do here on this podcast is share our stories and our resources. Why? Because we believe that stories matter. Why do stories matter? Well, first of all, people are saying that as soon as a returning citizen comes home, he or she automatically goes back. But that is not true. We are changing that narrative. Why? Because we are successful, be it educationally, relationally, occupationally, whatever way you want to look at it, we are successful. And so Marie and myself, we're here so that we can allow you to know that you too can be successful as we have become. And so in our segment tonight, we are talking about a powerful conference that's getting ready to come forth tomorrow. And we got some guests here that's going to tell us about that conference. We have some guests here that's going to tell us what to look forward to on that conference. And so that's why we are getting ready to announce what's going down tomorrow. But before we do that, Marie, anything you want to say before we announce our guests?
No, I don't have anything to say. I'm just excited that Dr. Maxine Bryant is here, and Miss Kimber, and always Fred.
For sure. So I'm going to start out with Fred first. Fred, tell us who you are and what is your relationship to incarceration?
What it do, Julius and Marie. It's good to see you. Good to be back on the podcast again. Incarceration to Incorporation. I'm Fred Green, and you know I've been on this show many times before. Formerly incarcerated individual, now clinicals, master's level social worker, working with Dr. Maxine Bryant with when is the debt paid, because we need to try to figure out in society, when is a person's debt really paid?
Exactly.
Because we're moving from incarceration to successful reintegration. Dr. Bryant, you taught me that word. Instead of reentry, we say reintegration, because that's a whole different, and she's going to go into that. That's a whole different form on the spectrum when you talk about reintegration. So we want to be able to share this with you and talk about these success stories and what we're endeavoring to do.
For sure. Introduce.
Yes, introduce Miss Dr. Maxine. Mm-hmm. Dr. Maxine Bryant, we would like to hear from you, ma'am.
Awesome. Good evening. We are excited to be a part of you today. We're just extremely excited and honored. Julius has been trying to get me on this radio podcast for a long time. Yes. I was excited when I could finally say yes. But enough of that. Fred Green, who's my sidekick here in Savannah, Georgia, has already told you about the conference. The name of the conference is When is the Debt Paid? And like Fred said, that's an everlasting question, because for formerly incarcerated individuals, it seems like the debt is never paid. It seems like the punishment goes on and on and on. It seems like you may be out of being locked up, but you're still being locked out of so many opportunities and so many things.
That's really good.
Every year for the past 8 years, I've held this conference. I had it for 4 years in Indianapolis, Indiana, prior to moving here, but it was a conference going by a different name. In Indianapolis, it was called the Second Chance Conference. When I got here, I had a conversation with a number of people. There's a pastor here in town who is Reverend Tillman, came up actually with the name, When is the Debt Paid? Its inception, the university, it used to be Armstrong, has supported me in giving this conference. The whole gist of it, I've never been incarcerated. That's not my story. However, I consider myself to be a friend of those who have traveled that road. I may know some things because I studied it. You all know things because you lived it.
Right.
That lived experience is worth a million words, right? And so I wanted the conference to be a place where formerly incarcerated individuals would speak to other formerly incarcerated individuals. Now, everyone who's a speaker has always been a person who's been incarcerated, but who has successfully reintegrated back into society. I stopped using the word reentry many, many years ago. Reentry means the onus is on me as a released individual to figure out how I fit into society. That's not going to work. That has not worked. It will not work. It does not work. Reintegration is where the community joins me in that effort, opens doors, helps me to create and recognize opportunity, and works alongside me so that I become an integral fabric in society. That's reintegration. And so that's what we're about. We have partners that partner with us. We always have a closed giveaway. Fred, we have brand new suits for men and women that was given. It's still in the bag, tags on it, top of the line clothing, right? We've always been supported by Dismas Charity. They again will support us this year by providing breakfast. Opinion Matters is a Matters movement. Katina Wheeler is going to be providing lunch. Our university is paying for the speaker fee for our speaker. And as always, I try to have a national speaker, someone with a national presence who's talked at the policy level, who's hobnobbed with people. And Kimber will tell you her own story, but she's represented you all with the UN. She's represented you all in the White House. She is the woman who's making things happen on a policy level. You know, in previous times, I've had a mayor, I've had the director of just leadership, I've had various people on a national level. This year, I outdid myself with Kimber Smith Prada. So she's going to talk here in just a moment. Here's the good thing about the conference. It's free, y'all. It's free. There's no registration fee because I didn't want any barriers. So you get breakfast, you get information, you get motivation, you get education, you get free clothes, you get access to service providers and employers, all for free. Tomorrow, 8:30 from 9 o'clock, it's breakfast at the Armstrong Center. That address is on Abercorn Street, 13040 Abercorn Street, 13040 Abercorn Street, right across from McDonald's. So that's all I'm going to say for right now.
Miss Dr. Maxine Bryant, may I ask you a question?
Sure can.
Why are you so passionate about it?
Wow. That is a wonderful question. When I was 18, I was cast out. I was told that I wasn't college material. I was told that I would not amount to anything. And my high school counselor said, take secretarial sciences because you're not smart enough to go to college.
Wow.
In that class, my teacher had us to write a paper on a field of study we were not interested in. And I wrote on prison social work. Right.
Wow.
To read that paper changed the trajectory of my life. And I realized then that God had a calling on my life to help people who were formerly incarcerated. So at 18, I knew what my passion was. It's a God-given passion. I'm a lot older than 18 now, and I'm still at it.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Miss Kimber. Can you tell me your name and what is your affiliation with incarceration?
Girl, how much time do you have?
I got some time.
My name's Kimba Smith-Pradia. I landed in Savannah a couple of hours ago. Dr. Bryant picked me up. First and foremost, I am jealous of you guys that have all this access to Dr. Bryant, because I met her in Indianapolis, and when she had her Second Chance conference, and I spoke there. But my goodness, if I lived right here in Savannah with Dr. Bryant, man, we'd be tearing this city. Well, when I say tearing the city up, I'm saying that we would be making sure that our people knew their greatness and tapped into that greatness. And I love you all saying changing the narrative. That needs to happen all across this nation.
Right.
My connection to incarceration is that as a first-time nonviolent offender, I was sentenced to 24 and a half years in federal prison. And I basically was a student at Hampton University and got involved with a drug dealer who was abusive. And a lot of things happened. I have a book called Poster Child. I'm going to be talking about some of my story tomorrow. But ultimately, the federal government wanted him, and they wanted to use me to get to him. But when I turned myself in, I was 7 months pregnant with my son. And the prosecutor, my parents thought it was about who you knew, and they got an attorney who was friends with the prosecutor. And the prosecutor said that if I turned myself in, he would grant me a bond and give birth to my son. He reneged on that promise. And then he said if I pled guilty, he would only give me 24 months. And he reneged on that as well. And so I'm when I was in prison, I mean, y'all know, I mean, I did whatever I could do to stay busy, to keep my mind strong. I was involved in various programs, but I dreamt of the day of those prison doors open. And even though my paperwork said in 1994, 95, 96, 97, my paperwork said I wasn't going to be released from federal prison until 2016. Wow. But I held on to my faith in God, and it actually took the president of the United States to commute my sentence and sign the document. But there was a movement, and I'll share more about the movement tomorrow, but there were several organizations that came together to help free me. But back then it wasn't about just poor little Kimba and, you know, feeling sorry for my parents, because my parents are my heroes, hands down. Right, they stuck by me 110%. But it was about the fastest growing population within prison at the time was Black women. And so the NAACP Legal Defense Fund took on my case pro bono because they had hoped my case would set a precedent for other first-time nonviolent drug offenders. And the courts denied every motion that was filed. And so my only source of relief was through executive clemency. So coming out, it was important for me because some people come out of prison, they don't want to talk about what they went through or anything like that. Right. But too much is given, much is required, because there was this movement centered around me. And not to mention, when I walked out of those prison doors, for those that may have seen 12 Years a Slave, I felt like that guy, I don't remember the actor's name, on that wagon leaving the plantation, but what about everybody else? And feeling that real, I had a sense of survivor's guilt. And so I knew that coming out of prison that I needed to keep sharing my story, keep humanizing who's incarcerated. And so initially because I was on probation, even though my sentence was commuted, I was on probation for 5 years, had a probation that was from, you know what, and that's a whole nother story. But once I got off probation, I basically put on my advocacy hat, because prior to getting off probation, I spoke around the country to youth, because number one, I felt as if each young person doesn't have to make each and every mistake there is to make in life, that they can hear another person's story and make a determination that they don't want to go down the same path, and influencing some of our girls that, you know, get caught up in the limelight of, you know, the hustler's lifestyle. And then the second reason was because I left a lot of people behind that deserve a second chance. And so actually I keep this on because my friend Michelle West, it says Free Michelle West. She's still incarcerated. She served over 28 years and we were friends. while I was incarcerated. So I've been, since my release, advocating for her release. But just to, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm giving a whole speech, and I know this is a conversation, but when you talk about incarceration to incorporation, I have a book called Poster Child. Because of the advocacy work that I had been doing, I decided I was an entrepreneur, and I have my 501c3 foundation, but then I decided that I wanted to work and see what that was like, because I had never worked a full-time job. And so I started working for the ACLU of Virginia. And then in 2019, the governor of Virginia, y'all listen to this, the governor of Virginia appointed me as a voting member on the Virginia Parole Board.
What you say?
That's what I said. Wow. I gave God all the glory, but in all reality, y'all, I didn't know what I was walking into. And poor Dr. Bryant been hearing some stories from me, but I was grateful to have a seat at the table. So what I want to share with your audience tonight is that there is a nation of formerly incarcerated people that are understanding the value in changing the narrative, but also making sure that we have seats at the table, because we are the ones that have the solutions to the problems that they're trying to solve.
I like that.
So we're the experts. And so I've been able to grow as a person, a woman, through my journey, but I didn't start off like this. And I just strongly encourage people to come out tomorrow, be a part of the conversation. Oftentimes, sometimes you want to stay in the shame or not want to, focus. And let me back up. I talk about, nonviolent, and people need to understand that even with violent offenses, even with my offense, I recognize the people that I might have harmed, but after you served a certain amount of time, like, you are no longer that same person. And so, and people don't understand mitigating circumstances that lead somebody to go down that path. And so in humanizing it, you allow people to understand and try to connect the values. But ultimately, it's up to us to help change the narrative. So again, I thank y'all for having me here tonight.
If I may, thank you for that word of encouragement, because that's exactly what Marie and we love for our listeners. And speaking of our listeners, what up, Tisha, all the way from Las Vegas? I see you, Roy, and my partner, he's on there for real. I know he wanted to talk about your story as well. But what we're going to do is save that impact of your story for tomorrow's conference. But we want you, before you leave, you and Dr. Bryant, because I know you may be tired and you want to get you something to eat and see our city. But if you would, I'm going to let Dr. Bryant go first, then you, and then Fred. Would you just leave one word of encouragement? It could be a phrase. It could be a brief story of how what you have been doing has encouraged people, or whatever you think it is, because we have those that are in Jessup jails right now listening on the radio, those that are listening to Facebook Live as well as YouTube. So could you share, it can be brief, a story, a word, or of encouragement, something that will help the people know that there is hope. Dr. Bryant, you go first.
Thank you, Julius. If I could sum it up, I would say your right now is not your always. Whatever you're going through right now, you're right, no matter how bad it is, no matter how traumatic it is, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how angry you are right now, no matter how you feel you've been unjustly accused or treated, your right now is not your always. As long as you have the opportunity to get up and take a breath, you have another opportunity to do something else, to go in a different direction, to be blessed in a different way. Your right now is not the way you're always going to be. Even if you're on top of the mountain right now and you feel like you are beyond reproach, your right now ain't always going to be that way, because life is up and down. But if you're in a valley right now, I guarantee you, I promise, I double D dare you to believe that your right now is not your always.
Preach, preacher.
That's Mama Spitfire. That's Mama Spitfire.
Hey, okay. And now, Ms. Kimball, you go.
Man, you should have had her last because she just, yeah. But I would say, keep the faith. And when I talk about a formerly incarcerated nation, there's an organization called Just Leadership USA. I think Deanna Hoskins, the president, was a speaker last year. Man, if you need some encouragement, Google that organization and go to the leaders tab, and you will see a wealth of formerly incarcerated people. Not only have they reintegrated back into society, but they're influencing policy. And so I want you all to realize the value and power in your voice. And I'm a fully transparent person. Like, you grow. There are times where I've been on this, public speaking circuit, and I go back to the past, and that shame may come in every now and then. But when you put yourself around community, and again, that's why I want to encourage you all, because when I became a part of Just Leadership USA, because there was no community when I came out in 2000, but when you come into a community of people and you can encourage and uplift each other, hear other people's stories, hear how they became successful, it motivates you and drops seeds into you for you to move forward. So just keep the faith, just hold on. And, like Dr. Bryant said, what you see now, when I was in prison and that piece of paper saying 2016 and my parents was raising my son and I didn't know when I was going to come home, I refused to just roll over or feel like, all hope was gone. That's just hold on to hope. And when you come out, make sure you optimize your resources and reach out to folks, reach out to Just Leadership, I don't know what the network here is in Savannah, but I'm sure y'all going to talk about it today and tomorrow. But again, thank you so much. And I hope, if anything, that we've been able to give somebody some hope tonight.
For sure. Fred?
To those who are incarcerated, I would like to say that there is hope, and that people are strapped up, boots on the ground, advocating for you. There are people that are not only are we sitting to the table, but we are creating tables. We are creating tables in order for you. And as Kimber just spoke, I just did an interview with Just Leadership to be a part of their leadership committee and to hone my leadership skills. So there are organizations out here that are going to bat for you. For those who are not system impacted, I want you to know that successful reintegration is possible and it is real. That we are not numbers, we are not statistics, and that you have a moral responsibility to provide a social safety net for formerly incarcerated individuals and individuals that are still incarcerated. You have a moral responsibility, not only a corporate responsibility, but a moral responsibility to give back, because everybody could be one mistake away from being justice system impacted. If you ever got a speeding ticket, you justice system impacted. So I just want to encourage both audiences and let everybody know that, guess what? Change is inevitable. Change is the only constant, and the needle is moving and things are changing. We are moving from a retributive type of justice to a restorative justice model, whether you want it or not.
I like that.
Good
Whether you want it or not. No, go ahead. I like that.
Well, listen, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let Ms. Kimball and also Dr. Bryant go, because I know they want to eat. Look, what we're going to do while you getting ready to leave is we're going to promote and push this thing even the more. Look, you had me when you said free food. I know I'm going to be there. So I just want to encourage you. We look forward to seeing both of you in the morning. Fred, we look forward to seeing you as well. And Marie and I, we're going to go and close this thing on out. But we thank you for being on, and we'll stay on just a few moments later so that we can tell people where we're going to be, what time it's going to be, and that they also can come. So at this moment, you three can be dismissed if your stomachs are growling. But Marie, I love what's going on right now. I'm talking about, you're welcome. Tomorrow, we're going to be at Armstrong tomorrow. Yes. There's going to be food, breakfast, and lunch. Yes. Tomorrow, you're going to have testimonies.
Yes.
Tomorrow you're going to have lists of resources that are going to be there for people, for returning citizens.
Yes.
And what I love most about this is the atmosphere. You have been there. I've been there. Our speakers have been there. We all have a common denominator, and that is incarceration. What do you want to say to our people before we get ready to let them go?
I'm just saying, I'm so grateful and so happy that this situation, that we are, like you said, a safe haven.
Okay.
You can come and feel safe to share your stories. And that's what it's all about. And I like what she said, the shame of it. She said sometimes she felt the shame. You don't have to feel shame. That's how people can take and whip you. Can I say that, Miko?
Yes.
They can take and whip you with your past. But guess what? That's why it's called a debt paid. Like Mr. Hall say, a debt paid is no longer a debt.
That's it.
That's it right there. Okay, so I just want to take and thank you so much, Fred, for being on with us. You know, I love you, Fred.
You're welcome.
And so
I love you both too. You all are outstanding and awesome and amazing. That's another AOAA.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Guess what? Guess what, Fred? I took and Googled the word that you sent me in the message.
What word?
You and Miko with y'all words. I'm telling y'all.
What word?
It starts with a P. And when I was asking you about what we should wear to the event tomorrow, so you should tell the people what. Is it all right for them?
It's your prerogative. You remember when Bobby Brown said it's my prerogative?
No, that's not the word you use. That's not the prerogative. That's not the word. It starts with a P.
Yeah.
Look back at your message.
And while she's thinking about that, for those who want to come out, you can just dress casual, business casual, okay, because it is a conference, but just be comfortable as well, because we're going to have people there who are going to share multiple lists of resources for you all. And what I love, I know that it's going to be encouraging to those that are there.
Employers will be there too, so come with your resume. Come ready to be hired.
For sure, because you want jobs.
Exactly.
So what we're doing here at OAA and Ain't to Ain't, and also filling the gap, what we're doing is we want you to know that when we hear about resources,
we're giving the information away.
We're giving it away. So before we go, I know I like to say this. First of all, we may have started this thing out wrong.
That's his favorite saying.
But look at us now. We finishing strong.
Yes.
And that's what we want to leave you with. You may have started out wrong, but you can finish this thing strong. We love you, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning, if you will, at the Armstrong, right?
Armstrong.
8 o'clock till 1. Breakfast and lunch will be served.
Yes.
We look forward to seeing you. Tell others about this as well. Get on the phone, get on the Facebook, and just let them know. If you're looking to find resources as a returning citizen, come on out to the Debt Paid Conference. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
See you later, Fred.
Hold it down. See y'all in the morning.
All right.
Thank you. Tiff, we out.
I like that.